I have a mediocre hidden talent for playing the guitar. And like many people who went before me in playing the guitar, I had to twist and bend my hands to try and make the right chord shapes so I can clumsily strum out the opening riffs to Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water. And over time, I did get a bit better, and I would practice and practice, and I would play with friends. And eventually, I got to the spot where I was able to play on one of the worship teams at the church that I was attending. The downside is that my acoustic guitar didn't have a pickup to plug into the system. So I borrowed my friend's guitar, and he played electric guitar that morning, and I was on the acoustic. And about midway through the worship service, I looked down, and to my dismay, I had scratched the top of his guitar. But not just scratched it, I embarrassingly destroyed the sound hole on his guitar. So much so that looking back on it, I have no idea how I could inflict so much damage on that guitar. I was humiliated and devastated, and I know just how personal instruments are to musicians. And so afterwards, I went to him and I said, I'm sorry, I've destroyed your guitar. And he didn't make me pay for it. I had offered to, I didn't have the money, but I knew I could do it, and I would pay for it because I could not believe that I had wrecked his guitar. And he just forgave me. I didn't even get any jokes about it or any cynical comments. He never made me remember about that time that I wrecked his guitar. See, forgiveness is costly. It cost my friend about an $800 guitar. And perhaps because forgiveness is so costly, people don't want to do it. I mean, it's way better to be a creditor than to be in debt. And if you're the creditor and other people are in debt to you, you get to hold on to the power. Which brings me to two elements from this passage that we're looking at today. It has to do with forgiveness and mercy. And one is about what Jesus does, and one is about how other people respond to it. The first thing is that Jesus offers forgiveness to people who are not just, violating a nice guitar that he has. He offers forgiveness to people who are actively murdering him. They are physically and literally driving nails through his body to nail him to a wooden cross, to hang him until he dies. And his response is, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, what does Jesus have to gain from this? So not going to be like, oh, he forgave us. Let's get him off of this cross now. No, he offers us this forgiveness in the midst of our just betrayal and active rebellion against him. Some people really like to think about God as being a wrathful God, one who is just waiting to pour out his wrath on sinners. And if there were ever a time for God to pour out his wrath on sinners, it would be right in this moment. But instead of wrath that gets poured out, forgiveness gets poured out. The other element of this that I find fascinating is mercy. C.S. Lewis wrote, God whispers to us in our pleasures, he speaks in our consciences, but he shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. But not everyone responds to God's megaphone in the same way. There are two prisoners that are being executed beside Jesus at this time, and both of them respond very differently to Jesus. One man responds to the pain of the cross with repentance and humility and with a plea for God's mercy. And the other man, the megaphone of pain, only makes his heart harder and his contempt for God greater. When we look at this, we have to ask ourselves, who do you need to forgive? Who are you a creditor of where you need to pay the price of forgiveness so that someone else can be free? And the other question is, what is your heart doing when you encounter God's megaphone? In your pain, does it grow soft or does it stay hard? Grace and peace, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow.